Our next reader, a flash reading from Emily Capettini. Come on up, Emily.
Hi, everyone. There we go. All right, I'm going to be reading an excerpt from a longer piece, which is called Walk Off, and I mean the baseball terminology. Can I say that? Okay. The week after everyone climbs out of their graves, my friend Luke decides to quit his job at FedEx and open a bar in the charred shell of what was a BP gas station. The gas burned up after day 3, but the cell where the clerks used to sit, bulletproof glass all the way to the ceiling with a small dip where you slid your money, hadn't been damaged. And not many of the old residents wanted to get near it. A few of them caught fire and then had spread the fire to a nearby section of town. But the cell was intact, and Luke figured he'd sit behind the glass with all the liquor he could scavenge. He said he'd mix whatever people wanted in between running from in-laws or grandparents or the town founder, though the latter wasn't much of a challenge since he'd had a few centuries to rot away. "What the hell do you know about bartending?" I'd asked. We were hiding behind one of those fax, copy, and print setups, me with my bat from baseball practice, Luke with the staple gun and a box cutter. "What's there to know?" "You'll go out of business on day 2. People will come. It's on the way out of town." He winced when the front window cracked. "There's demand. You'll see. I had a harder time finding a bottle of gin than I did with getting milk and bread." I opened my mouth to argue, but then Mrs. Fredericks, the gym teacher, who made us all run laps until we heaved into the bushes, and who dropped dead of a heart attack sometime in April, came through the boxes we'd stacked against the door, and I forgot what I was going to say. Plenty of other people would have told Luke he was nuts, but his parents had taken on this glasses stare and wouldn't leave the basement. His older brother Charlie left town with some Scavenger Game to gather supplies. Charlie had been confident about the trip, and Luke looked up to him, so I didn't mention how I'd spied on them from the old treehouse. The gang was mostly Todd and Jeremy from the local pizza place, and Tim, who shrieked when I flung frog guts in his face after he tried to feel me up in class. I came home with a suspension that day, but when Ma heard the story, she called up the school and yelled so loud, the mouthpiece on the landline still adds a hum to your voice. Luke called me a few days later to compliment me on my aim. After that, he said my hummed voice was calming, and he hoped it wasn't weird. It was, I told him, but I liked weird. Now, I'm not so sure I still agree. Coach told me to work on my swing last month, and I'd be happy to go back to hitting fouls and pop-ups rather than the skulls that sink in like November pumpkins. I have enough problems about Luke's bartending idea. It's just me defending the house, since Ma had gone on a business trip before this all started. But with no one around to tell Luke no besides me, he doesn't listen, and the next thing I know, I'm helping him clear rats from the cigarette case. "We'll put the glasses in here," he's telling me. It'll keep them from breaking." "I thought you were using those," I answer, pointing at the bags of plastic cups stacked waist-high. "To-go cups. Wasn't that the idea?" "I'm going to have regulars." "Regulars? Luke, you can't be serious." "Stranger things have happened," he grins. "You can't keep using that excuse." "Why not? It's true, isn't it?" I frown at him. It is true, and I'm irritated to be standing here, still with leaves in my hair after Mrs. Fredericks chased me through the woods this morning. I'm the one who used to read all the ghost stories and monster stories, but never believed them like Luke did. Told him to not be so freaked out. That kind of stuff didn't really happen. And now I'm wrong. How am I supposed to win an argument ever again? Luke shrugs. Not my problem. It takes us almost 5 days, but we get the place cleaned up, and Luke even finds one of those neon open signs. What are you going to call it? The bar? That's a shitty name. Luke thinks for a while. I'll come up with something. He plugs in the neon sign and tugs on the cord. It flickers to life. Huh, I say. I would have thought the fire would have taken out the power. I think jealously of Luke's luck, then feel guilty when I remember his parents, silent and locked away. Luke fiddles with the light switches, and only one responds, shaded pea soup. Just the outlet then, he says. Well, it'll do until I get a generator. A generator, I repeat. Where are you going to get a generator? Luke shrugs. Just thinking long term. Since when do you think long term? I grit out, my stomach hot. Since when do you plan anything at all? What are you so pissed about? Never mind, I snap. Never mind. And I pick up my bat and storm out. The walk home is uneventful. Something about the old residence makes them stay away when you were angry. Maybe they were like dogs, could sense fear and anger and all that shit. I check my house anyway. The weather's cooling off, and who knows if these things are like mice seeking warmth for the winter.